So let's just say you looked at semiconductors and they got beat to hell, but Nvidia held its ground and is still trading upward. And you're taking a bullish trade now. Would you trade Nvidia? Nvidia's at the highs. More, it would be so much better to take something like an AMD or whatever. Yeah, Axman, something that is the catch-up trade, right? It's a great light bulb moment for you. I can feel it. And for many of you, don't go after what everyone else is going after. The trend leader? No, not when there is a shift. Once there is a shift, go after the ones that need to catch up in that market. So, yeah, some of you answered Shift Master and Tomorrow Never Dies and Rick and Axman and Ride the Pony. You all, I think, got it. You don't need a hedge. You know why? Because you're so freaking light. You just have a toe in the water for next week. If it starts to work the other way, you'll close it. All right? You're testing it out. If these start to make money, you can start scaling out and take some profits. You can add to the trade. And one way to add to the trade is do what? Go out to July 18th. Now you're going to start loading up the monthlies, baby. You got a bullish narrative. Start adding into the monthly expiration. And when you do that, you now need a short hedge. For when? Next week. The short-term hedge. So now you're going to look at SQQ calls. The reverse. So, and then you play this game again. If the market goes against your bullish narrative, again, collect the money here, make a decision. Is this setup still valid? Yes. Take the money, double down. No good? Take the money, even out your trades a little bit, kind of exit out of here. But here's what's going to happen. The narrative doesn't shift back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It will shift, but you'll note if you look at the S&P 500 or the Russell, when they shift, they go for a bit, and then they go for a bit, and then they go for a bit. They don't go like this. It takes some time. Yeah, ride the pony. The gap indicator is not going to find the beat up stocks. No, it's going to find stocks that are gapping. So typically if a stock is gapping in the pre-market, it got some news in the overnight. And the traders that have the ability to trade in the overnight and the pre-market bought the shit out of it. And so it's going to gap up. And usually it's gap and go. So you can take a gapping trade it right at the open as a day trade. That's the gap indicator is for day trading, not for swing trading. So you can do a gap and go. After the first 30 minutes, you could do a gap and crap, which is, fading the gap. That's something entirely different. Yeah, so Dream Finder, we talk about this a lot. Which way to go? Well, first of all, you're not going to sell a put. You might sell a put credit spread in a vertical, but you're not going to just sell a put naked. You're not ready for anything like that. So typically, it's an easy thing to answer, but let me just make sure that I finish all this. So you start when there is a narrative shift, you want to put your toe in the water and go easy. When the narrative proves out, setup's making money, and you start taking some profits, start adding to trades, and then moving to monthly expiration with some bigger size, go a little further out, that's when you add your hedge, and you do it for next week. And so each week you're going to be evaluating, what is the narrative? Still good? Still whatever? What are the setups that I like that support the narrative? And then you get your confirmations. Confirmation would be if, then. So if this stock breaks the 50, does a retest, and fails, then I'm shorting that pig, right? I'm shorting it. Like if it does this, then I do that. If it breaks the 50 and goes higher, and then holds and da-da-da, then I'm going to do that. So that's what confirmation is. Narrative is there's an overall tone with the market internals that says bullish or bearish. The setup is what stocks and sectors are setting up that support that narrative. In other words, what stocks and setups look bullish if my narrative is bullish? There's an old expression, if the market looks bullish, you trade it bullishly. If the markets are bearish, you trade it bearishly. So if the narrative is bearish, what setups look like they're just going to fall apart and get even worse? Apple was one of them. Apple couldn't trade above its daily 50. So when I went bearish, I picked Apple. We've already made money on it over the last month and a half. So what's the narrative? What setups are good for that narrative? And I just need a good, if this happens, then that happens. Then I trade it. When do I trade it? Typically trade it for next week expiration and go light. If it works, if it works and everything is good, then you take profits and then maybe add. But before you add, check the narrative, check the setup still there, confirmation still good. All right, I'm going to add. And not only can you add to the trade, you can also go to the monthly expiration and start putting on trades because the narrative is no longer a weekly narrative. It's now monthly. And so you're going to go to the monthly expiration. But when you do that, that's when you start to hedge their positions short term. See how it works? If it goes against you and the hedge makes money, you take the money. If the setup is, again, narrative still good, setup still good, still confirmation, great. I'll add to the trade and I'll average down. Narrative starting to shift, setup not so good, no confirmed, don't like it, exit the trade, take the money on the hedge, and start reversing into the new narrative. Everybody get this? This is huge. Nobody teaches this. This is really important to know how to manage. And it's really not that complicated, right? It really isn't. So toe in the water, that's called a pilot, right? A little pilot position. Put it on for next week. See how it does. If it does good, make some money. Put on another. Does good, narrative's still working, great. Go to monthly, add to the trade a little bit, but now stick on a hedge. And then whatever the hedge does or doesn't do, that will determine what you do with these trades. All right?
Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video from Trade With Me Now. Make sure to go ahead and like this video and subscribe to our channel so you make sure that you catch our next video right when it's released. Also, if you have a question or comment, please leave that in the comment section below. And of course, if you want to learn more about Trade With Me Now or join our community of profitable traders, go to tradewithmenow.com. There's also a link in the description below.